It's been a busy week in the Inland Northwest, so let's get you caught up with the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for being here with us. Over the next half hour, we'll take a look back at some of the news you might have missed from the past week. So let's get started with one of the biggest stories from the Inland Northwest.
Well, the answer is simple. Amber Alerts are a federal program with criteria set through the Department of Justice, meaning when a report comes through, if it doesn't meet that set criteria, then the state's hands are tied. After Monday's gruesome discovery.
We don't know the timeline now. We don't know when this evil act occurred.
Chris Loftus, the Director of Public Affairs with Washington State Patrol, is now trying to answer questions circulating online and across the state surrounding what was done when Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker, all under 10 years old, were initially reported missing last Friday to when their bodies were found this week. Court documents show the bodies were found 100 feet near their father Travis Decker's truck, with zip ties and plastic bags being recovered near the scene.
The entire process, there was a continual conversation and an expansion of coverage and focus. Unfortunately, however, and we don't know what the timeline of the situation. We don't know when the children were killed. But once we have that, we'll be able to say, hey, are there any lessons we can learn here?
Of the 5 required criteria for an Amber Alert, Loftus says this case specifically failed to meet 2 of those criteria. The first was reason to believe an abduction had occurred, and the second was known danger of bodily harm or death.
We had no reason to assume differently. And if we start assuming that every time a custodial parent is late bringing a child home, that there's an abduction or there's possible homicide afoot, we're going to be sounding so many alerts that they become noise very quickly and they don't become the signal that we needed them to be.
Loftus says all these reports across the state go through a missing and unidentified persons unit to see if it meets the criteria before it's escalated to an Amber Alert. A day after the initial Amber Alert request, WSP issued the Endangered Missing Persons Alert, or EMPA, which acts as a catch-all alert for anyone who can't help themselves. The main difference between the Amber Alert and the EMPA is that the EMPA won't send those ringing mass notifications.
In this case, we did everything we could do, and we still have this horrible outcome caused by the evil of a person, not because of a failure of a system.
Loftus says so far this year there have been 3 Amber Alerts and 16 EMPAs. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
What was supposed to be a fun weekend of the beach and baseball turned tragic, with reportedly 2 lives lost. And now a local business in Colville called Stitch and Ink Studio is trying to show their support for the impacted community. Northport School District announced the passing of superintendent and baseball coach Don Barable a week after reports from several media outlets like the Seattle Times say the high school baseball team traveled to Long Beach, Washington for a scheduled game. During the team's stay in Long Beach, the U.S. Coast Guard reported a 15-year-old student, Noah Heberling, went missing in the water, and eventually the search was suspended. The superintendent was one of the 2 individuals who tried to rescue the student. The Coast Guard reports hypothermia may have been involved. Now, t-shirts are being made in honor of the Northport community. Owners of Stitch and Ink Studios say the former owners of their business made the Northport athletic uniforms for several years. Now they want to show their support and raise as much money as possible for the impacted families.
Incorporated the baseball threads just because it hit so close to the baseball community, and just put the Mustang in there as their mascot. So we created put it on a soft Port and Company tee, and so we just wanted to make sure it's something anyone can wear and cozy up in at any time. So
it's pretty amazing that we can actually all rally together and support these families as much as we have, especially coming from such a small knit community with such a bad tragedy like this. I can't even explain it. Especially with me having children that are the same ages as all these boys, I can't.
The t-shirts are going to be $30 each, and we will have that link on our website. The fundraiser will go through next Tuesday, and the owners of Stitch and Ink Studio want to highlight Mustang Strong. I'm reporting in Colville, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Well, Spokane County Sheriff John Knowles is worried about the type of info that will be gathered and the extra work that this could become for his employees. Take a look. This is the newly launched Washington Data Exchange for Public Safety, or WADEPS. It's a partnership between the state and WSU. Criminal justice experts there will run this database. Spokane County Sheriff's Office already compiles its own use of force numbers. Sheriff Knowles says about 75% of what the state wants to list on this new dashboard. It's those extra data points that he's worried about. For instance, the length of time between a deputy response and the time force was used. He says that kind of data could take hours of manual labor, even going through body camera video to determine.
This is going to be somebody's job that we're going to have to give to them that, well, they've already got a full-time job. And now there's going to be all these data entry points on, probably a couple hundred uses of force a year that we're going to have to report out on. That's a lot. It's a lot of work.
He says that's manpower and ultimately money the county doesn't have. Since KREM 2 News was unable to speak directly with anyone with WADEPS, we are still working to get answers to those law enforcement concerns. We'll bring you that part of the story as soon as we can. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Well, we got a chance to speak with the Spokane County assessor today. He and his office say more than 214,000 of those notices will be sent out as of today, and ultimately they'll be using those values to get you prepared for that 2026 tax season here in Spokane. Here's a map that shows the percentage of value change for the different general areas of the county. Overall, the county assessor says the real estate market has calmed down in most areas, but land is in high demand and prices continue to rise. He also noted price increases for mobile homes.
We are lucky right now in that our market has calmed down compared to what it was a few years ago. We're looking at, on average, overall for the whole county, 1.5% increase, which is very comfortable and very typical for Spokane historically.
The property assessments sent out today reflect the values as of the first day of this year. They're determined by analyzing real estate values and sales in 836 statistical neighborhoods, and then also included in those notices that are sent out today information about exemptions and who qualifies. So that information, along with a lot of other important details to help you get prepared again for that 2026 tax season. For now, reporting here in Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Each weekend, we walk you through headlines from the past week in the inland Northwest.
A DNR meteorologist tells me they're already seeing major gaps in forecast data and are concerned about public safety. He says with all signs pointing to an active wildfire season, now is the time for more resources, not less.
I'm just a little bit scared for what this summer might look like without full capabilities from both our incident management teams and our incident meteorologists.
In February, the Trump administration announced federal job cuts, laying off hundreds of employees nationwide at NOAA and the National Weather Service, including here in Washington. Wildland Fire meteorologist Matthew Deere tells me forecasting offices were already understaffed before the layoffs.
We have less incident management teams available in the region today than we did 2 years ago.
During peak wildfire season, there's close collaboration between federal partners like the National Weather Service, Forest Service, and local fire agencies. Agencies like East Pierce Fire and Rescue rely on spot weather forecasts from NOAA during wildfires.
That's a huge resource for us, anticipating the winds, temperature, air humidities.
Bill Sandlin with East Pierce Fire is concerned the layoffs could impact their work on the fire line.
Hopefully it doesn't delay us being able to get those forecasts too much out on the line.
Sandlin says the lighter snowpack we saw this winter is melting early, meaning heavier fuels because of the early vegetation growth. The State Department of Ecology is monitoring that closely. Last month, the department issued a drought declaration for 3 watersheds in the Yakima Basin.
This is the 3rd emergency drought declaration that we've issued in a row. And that is the first for our state's emergency drought declaration process. And so for the last 2 years, we have seen concerning snowpack across the state.
Deere says the 1-2 punch of dry conditions and staffing shortages could pose a tough summer for first responders.
We haven't seen what peak fire season is going to look like yet this year. But if it's anything like last year, I'm concerned for what it's going to look like from a management perspective.
I asked NOAA how many employees were fired locally, and they said they don't comment on internal personnel or management matters. We do know there are 122 National Weather Service offices across the U.S., and according to the Associated Press, nearly half of these offices are missing 20% of their usual staff. In Seattle, Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week.
The hot-button topic at tonight's City Council meeting was the newly written version of Proposition 1. Attendee Sasha Mawhinney takes the topic to heart as she's pursuing her MSW degree at Eastern Washington University.
To successfully address homelessness in cities, you really have to address it from compassionately with regard to the public safety and also address these root causes.
Mawhinney's one of several people who shared their thoughts on the ordinance. In 2023, voters overwhelmingly approved Proposition 1, but in April, the state Supreme Court struck it down, saying it exceeded the scope of local initiative power. Days later, City Council also voted down Prop 1 and went back to the drawing board. Fast forward to now, Council presented a revised version which includes a 7-day period for the person to get connected to services they may need. That legislation is now proposed and amended by the Council. The addition was met with opposition by Spokane attorney Richard Repp. He says the changed language to Prop 1 will weaken the law's strength.
The idea of a 7-day pass on camping? That's crazy. It's crazy on its face. It should be embarrassing that we're even having that part of the legislation that's being considered.
It's a factor Council President Betsy Wilkerson says needs to be considered. She says the city of Spokane offers resources in drug rehabilitation and mental health that other areas don't, making it harder for some people to access them.
We are the central location for services. People who live in the state of Washington, there's nowhere else for them to go but to come to Spokane.
As Council is looking into the new version, Mawhinney hopes to see it become law.
Our biggest concern is just to see how it'll be implemented and enforced in real life.
Nothing like a siren and flashing lights to get your head on a swivel. That's what happened to me just a few days ago. This unmarked silver pickup jumped a curb and maneuvered around traffic, a move I caught on my dash cam and iPhone. I thought it was a fake cop. Turns out it was a real law enforcement vehicle. And how about this one? This red Dodge Charger, complete with a new driver sticker on the back, is part of the State Patrol's undercover fleet. It's part of the patrol's Aggressive Driving Apprehension Team, or ADAT. It focuses on intervening when drivers are out of control and could cause a collision.
I see a sneaky red Charger that would come up on me and know if I was speeding without my having an opportunity to slow down.
Well, he's got a horn, he's got strobe lights in the rear.
Former King County Sheriff John Urquhart says unmarked vehicles can be an effective tool for highway patrol, but they come with limitations and risks.
Unmarked cars are problematic for a whole bunch of different reasons. Number one, they can't see you coming. Number two, they may not believe that you're really a police officer.
Some drivers are against the tactic. The red Charger earned its own Reddit thread. The new driver sticker is diabolical, wrote one Reddit user. Did you call the police to report a possible impersonator, said another. The use of unmarked vehicles is not new in law enforcement. WSP has used similar vehicles since '98, a fleet that's grown to 50 in recent years. And this summer, they're targeting speeders.
Now, I happen to think State Patrol has a good reason. You know, they're tasked with writing speeding tickets and cutting down on reckless drivers. And if you got an unmarked car, like that one there in your video, you're much more likely to be able to do that.
Strength and conditioning is an important part of training for any athlete. For the Spokane Indians, leading that training is the first ever woman coach on their staff. When Allison Koreski took a weightlifting class to train for high school sports, she found her passion too.
From there, I did it for the next 4 years, became a student aide for my teacher, just really fell in love with strength and conditioning, but didn't really know I could go into that field as a job.
One undergraduate degree in kinesiology, a master's degree, and a Major League Baseball internship later, she's fallen in love with working in baseball and now is the first woman to coach on the Spokane Indians staff.
Baseball players still really carry that passion no matter what level they're at. They could stop after high school, they could stop after college, or they can even make it all the way to the pro level. And I carry that same passion with my coaching.
She's in rare territory as a woman in strength and conditioning coaching, but she says the players treat her just like they would any other coach.
She's someone that we can always go talk to, say, hey, this is bothering me. What do you think? What can stretch this out? What can help get me ready to play that night? And she does a great job of that.
Allison is a big advocate of working out, whatever that looks like for you. However, her competitive spirit is something she has in common with her players.
I really like strength and conditioning because it lets you always be improving and really challenge yourself as a one-on-one aspect. And also when you work in a team setting, you get to work with your teammates and work with other students and athletes, and just throughout the process, it's just something that's very rewarding.
The Indians are at home starting tonight for a 6-game series with the Hillsboro Hops. In the strength and conditioning facility at Avista Stadium, Caitlin Galloway, KREM 2 News.
Welcome back to the KREM 2 News, a week in review. I hope you're having a great weekend. Let's get back to one more story you might have missed this past week.
You know, one of my favorite things is a nice walk through Riverfront Park. And what's better than a walk through Riverfront Park? Well, possibly running into some local businesses, food businesses at that, because you know I love to eat. So my friend Corey back here, she's got an awesome food stand with her and her family, Sabor Latino. And Corey, first and foremost, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, excited to you guys being here.
All right, you know, and Corey tells me she's a little bit nervous, but they got a great, wonderful business here, and they got some good food as well. So Corey, can you talk about this food that you all are dishing out to the community and just being a part of events like this one here in Riverfront Park?
I'm so excited to you here because I'm part of the community and I support small business because I am too. I love to be here in Riverfront Park. Cook is my passion.
Can we talk about that passion?
Yeah.
You know, because for me, you know, I think that's the ultimate love language, you know, food, and then also, you know, it's an art as well. So what is that like, being able to use your art to, you know, make people happy?
I offer something like different. I offer pupusas from El Salvador. I offer food from my country, Guatemala, a little bit of everything. And we are the only place we offer pupusas and the food stands around fairs, events, markets, and that's why I'm so excited.
Well, and that is an awesome thing too, because you all are you know, a part of so many different community events, and then this is not your first year here at Riverfront Eats. So
this is my second year.
Second year. What was it like last year being a part of that?
It was super good because it's only 2 hours. It's 11 to 2, more than 2 hours, and it's a lot of people around, a lot of communities here, and that's why I'm back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love this place. It's
I'll
beautiful.
tell you what, you need to come check out this beautiful business. Sabor Latino, thank you so much, Corey.
Thank you,
we appreciate
guys.
you.
Have a
and,
wonderful day, and I hope to you guys stay and try my pupusas today.
That's right, that's right. You need to come by and check them out. Thank you, Corey, and we'll toss it back to you. And then also thank your husband, Juan, as well. We appreciate both of you all, and we'll toss it back to you in the studio.
Keep it here for more news and weather updates throughout the weekend. And don't forget, you can watch our latest newscasts anytime on your schedule on KREM 2 Plus. Download and watch right now for free. I'm Cody Proctor. Thank you for watching KREM 2 News Week in Review.